What if the doll in your attic isn't just an old toy? What if it's watching you? We all know the story of Annabelle, the locked glass case, the warnings, the priest who refused to stand too close. But what if I told you, Annabelle isn't the only one? Tonight, on America's Haunted Atlas, we're stepping beyond the spotlight into a hidden gallery of cursed dolls whose names rarely make headlines, yet whose legends are just as chilling. Are they urban legends? Psychological projections? Or does something truly malevolent live behind those vacant, painted eyes? Let's find out. The shadow beyond Annabelle. Annabelle casts a long shadow over paranormal history. But collectors, archivists, and even certain museum curators quietly admit something unsettling. There are other objects kept deliberately out of the public eye. Some are sealed in temperature-controlled cases. Some are bound in protective wrappings. Some are never photographed twice. Museums that display allegedly haunted artifacts now follow strict containment protocols, isolated storage rooms, limited viewing hours, protective symbols placed discreetly within exhibits. Private collectors sometimes consult clergy, spiritual practitioners, or psychological specialists before even transporting such items. Why? Because history suggests that some dolls don't just sit still. 1. The shadow doll. Its origins trace back to the late 1800s. A local family plagued by ill fortune, a decaying estate on the outskirts of town, a doll with no maker's mark and no known origin simply there. Shortly after its arrival, the household began experiencing subtle disturbances, cold spots in warm rooms, soft laughter echoing down empty hallways. Furniture slightly shifted. Documented case studies from the early 1900s described consistent reports of unexplained cold drafts and disembodied sounds centered around the object. Family members suffered violent nightmares. One claimed the doll would change position overnight, always facing the bedroom door. Then tragedy struck. The youngest child fell mysteriously ill. The family abandoned the house. The doll vanished from records shortly after. Some believe it still exists, passed quietly through private collections, never staying with one owner too long. 2. The Beatrice doll. In 1958, archive police reports detailed multiple household disturbances tied to a porcelain doll the family called Beatrice. The family insisted she would hum at night. Lights flickered only in the room where she was kept. Kitchen knives were found misplaced. Doors locked themselves from the inside. The official conclusion? Inconclusive, but neighbors reported hearing screams on several occasions. The father later claimed the doll's eyes appeared wet, like it had been crying. Within 2 years, the family relocated. The doll was sealed in a wooden crate and transported to a remote warehouse. The warehouse burned down in the 1970s. Investigators never found the doll's remains. 3. The Island Ritual doll. Discovered in the early 1900s on a small coastal island estate, this handmade figure was believed to be part of an unfinished ritual. Its body was stitched from coarse fabric. Its stuffing reportedly included hair, not synthetic fibers. Human hair. The estate caretaker documented strange events after attempting to remove it from the property. Footsteps on empty staircases. Whispers in a language no one recognized. Shadows that lingered too long against walls. Within months, 3 residents abandoned the island, each citing psychological breakdown. The doll was returned to its original location. The disturbances reportedly stopped. 4. The mourning doll. In the Victorian era, mourning dolls were sometimes crafted to resemble deceased loved ones, a way of holding grief in physical form. But this particular doll was different. Commissioned after a tragic carriage accident, the grieving mother requested that strands of her daughter's hair be sewn into the doll's head. A keepsake, a memorial. What followed was something else entirely. Visitors claimed the doll's expression appeared to change between viewings. Photographs taken weeks apart showed subtle differences in its posture. Servants refused to clean the nursery where it sat. One journal entry from the home reads simply, "It watches the crib. It does not blink." The house fell into abandonment. Paranormal investigators who briefly examined the property in the early 2000s reported intense electromagnetic spikes near the nursery. The doll's current whereabouts are unknown. 5. The attic companion. Unlike the others, this doll has no newspaper record, no police file, only generational testimony passed down through one Midwestern family for over 80 years. Each generation reports the same pattern. It appears in different storage boxes. It is always facing outward when discovered. And children in the household describe an imaginary friend that matches its appearance exactly. Attempts to discard it have reportedly failed. Thrown away, it reappeared weeks later inside a sealed trunk. Today, the family keeps it locked in a cedar chest, untouched, unacknowledged. They refuse all interviews. The price of possession. Across every one of these stories, one theme remains constant. Possession comes at a cost. Some owners suffered illness. Some endured psychological torment. Some families fractured completely under the strain, relationships broken, homes abandoned, bloodlines haunted for generations. And in recent years, modern parallels have quietly emerged. Collectors who purchase replica cursed dolls online have reported unexplained knocks, device malfunctions, and recurring nightmares that mirror historical accounts almost word for word. Coincidence? Or something patient adapting to a new age? Breaking the bonds. Attempts to destroy these dolls have rarely succeeded. Burnings that left no ashes. Burials that ended in unexplained reappearances. Blessings that quieted the activity but never ended it. A theory now circulates in paranormal research circles: digital curse transmission. The idea that repeated exposure through images, live streams, and viral video could somehow carry the psychological or spiritual weight of an object far beyond its physical location. There is no scientific proof, but some researchers now quietly recommend limiting repeated viewings of allegedly cursed artifacts, avoiding interactive challenge trends involving haunted objects. Museums debate, in private, whether displaying these things at all is educational or irresponsible. So what are they really? Are these dolls vessels? Symbols of grief pressed into porcelain and fabric? Manifestations of human fear projected onto objects too still and too silent for comfort? Or something darker, something older, something that has learned to wait? Every culture across history has feared the same thing: the idea of an object becoming inhabited, a body without breath, eyes without sight, stillness with awareness. So tonight, as you walk past that old toy tucked in the back of a closet or sealed in a box you haven't opened in years, ask yourself one question: is it just fabric and porcelain, or is something looking back? Stay with us. The Atlas doesn't close when the video ends. Every entry we publish is part of something larger, a map of the forgotten, the sealed away, and the deliberately unnamed. The case's history filed under inconclusive, the locations that never made the tour guides, the objects that curators photograph once and never again. If you found your way here, you're already the kind of person who looks closer than most. Subscribe to America's Haunted Atlas, and we'll make sure you're there when we open the next door. Because we don't chase the famous hauntings. We find the ones that never wanted to be found. See you in the dark. Stay curious, stay cautious, stay haunted.